Tonight on Joy News Prime, Supreme Court dismisses yet again an attempt by lawyers for former President John Mahama to put some questions to the chairperson of the Electoral Commission in the ongoing election petition.
It's my submission that the arguments we have heard today by the applicant is just an emotional reaction to an unfavorable judgment quoting Akande, and therefore this application should be dismissed. That's my submission.
My Lord, with respect, this very simple way of trying to interpret Rule 6.
The 2020 NDC presidential candidate's lawyers, however, believe the ruling is unfair.
This very simple way of trying to interpret Rule 69C4 would lead to gross absurdity.
Ghana Police Service to intensify random stop and search operations on the country's roads, as well as office visitations as part of efforts to get more people wearing face masks and complying with other COVID-19 protocols.
We have started engaging to see how they can activate their bylaws to ensure enforcement of the wearing of masks as their bylaws permit, specifically to the region.
It comes even as Ghana's active cases continue to soar after over 1,000 new cases were added over 2 days with 13 more deaths.
Active cases is roughly about 3,940. We have recorded 390 deaths so far, and you can see that there's been a rapid escalation in the last few weeks.
There's also concern about the increase in the number of children testing positive for the virus at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital.
The disease initially, children were said to be spared. We have 14 of last year. But this year, just a space of 10 days, we got 9 positive cases, children.
Parliament finally debates motion seeking to have government absorb the fees of students in tertiary institutions. Education Minister designate Dr. Yaweduchum, however, says vice chancellors of the country's universities do not consider it a priority at the moment. In business, Ghanaian institutions improved their customer service in 2020, scoring a grade C+. We have the details here on Joy News Prime. Plus, we'll be telling you why the birth of a rare breed monkey is being hailed by wildlife campaigners.
Happily, she's safe. The mom is called Chachale and the dad is Kweku. They will help us eliminate the risk of extinction of the species once we are able to reintroduce them into the Ghanaian rainforest.
We'll tell you more about Peter the Red Monkey. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime comes to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle here in Accra on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air. And also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is a home of independent, fearless, credible and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned. Many thanks for choosing us. Let's begin with lawyers for the NDC's 2020 presidential candidate who on Thursday failed yet again in their attempt to get the EC chairperson to answer some 12 questions they had for her. A 9-member panel of justices dismissed John Mahama's review application after the court presided over by Chief Justice Eni Yeboah said the threshold required for the court's review jurisdiction to be triggered had not been met. The Supreme Court, constituted as a 7-member panel last week, ruled that the EC chairperson shall not answer 12 written questions, which included whether or not the NCA assisted the EC in the transmission of election results. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has more.
hearing commenced on Thursday with the panel informing the lawyers in the case that some of the applications that had been made were moot. The first had to do with a request that the court stays its proceedings. That particular application should have been heard on Tuesday, and because it was staying proceedings pending the court dealing with the review on Thursday, the court did indicate that it was moot, and so Mr. Chikata, who had filed a particular application, proceeded to withdraw it, and the court struck it out as withdrawn. The second one related to a request for abridgment of time. It was a request that the Electoral Commission had made, asking that the court hears the review on Tuesday instead of Thursday, and because it was Thursday again, the court did note that it was also moot, and lawyers for the Electoral Commission proceeded to withdraw that particular application as well. With that out of the way, the court went on a brief recess where two justices of the Supreme Court, Justices Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, as well as Justice Amadou Tanko, joined the 7-member panel to now make a 9-member panel, at which stage the legal arguments were listened to from Mr. Chikata, Justin Amenuvo for the Electoral Commission, and Akoto Ampao for the President Akufo-Addo's legal team.
It's my submission that the arguments we have heard today by the applicant is just an emotional reaction to an unfavorable judgment quoting Adade, and therefore this application should be dismissed. That's my submission.
The applicant has the burden of demonstrating to the court how the refusal in this particular case was wrong. And furthermore, he has an obligation to demonstrate, one, that the error was a fundamental error. Two, that fundamental error occasioned them a gross miscarriage of justice. And it's our submission that the applicant has failed to demonstrate these very basic conditions to grant a review. In the circumstances, my lords, we pray that the application be dismissed as completely unmeritorious.
We thought it important to have those questions dealt with in interrogatories so that we would not be burdened to have to ask them subsequently in cross-examination. In any case, Your Ladyship, if the questions are not relevant, how can they be allowed in cross-examination, if that is the position? If the questions are not relevant, if that is the position that's been taken, then they cannot be asked in cross-examination either.
Are you attempting to cross a bridge you have not reached?
Well, I believe you put that bridge there. No, with respect, this very simple way of trying to interpret Rule 69C4 would lead to gross absurdity.
The court, in a unanimous decision, dismissed first the request that was asking that it allows some additional documents to be filed to bolster the review arguments of Mr. Mohammed's team, and also dismissed the review itself, saying that it has not met the threshold required for such a review to be granted. Proceedings have been adjourned to Friday for the trial proper to commence, and the various legal teams have been reacting to the directives from the courts.
The refusal of applications are not fair to the petitioner in the light of the past and in the light of what is happening now. So we disagree with the rulings of the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, that's their decision. There's not much we can do. We'll be in court tomorrow.
The law is not about what you want. It is about what you will get. And this business of they're talking about fair hearing and all that. In one of the authorities that their lead counsel, Mr. Chikata, quoted, it was stated quite clearly there that speedy hearing is synonymous to fair hearing. So I don't know what this fetish, it is about expedition being sacrificed for justice. In the case that he himself, Chikata, quoted, it was speedy hearing is fair hearing. And I don't really get the complaint. When you come to court and your mind, with all due respect, is jaundiced that you should expect a certain ruling from the court. That is what is occasioning you when the ruling goes against you. In the courtroom, I heard my sister Marietta also saying that their lead counsel preferred superior arguments. Really? Superior arguments. Indeed, if the arguments were superior, 9 justices will not find that argument not superior. So that position they are canvassing is neither here nor there.
On Friday, when the case resumes, Dr. Michael Pesa-White and the NDC's General Secretary Johnson Esiedun Ketia will be called upon to mount the witness box. Reporting for Joy News from the Supreme Court, I am Joseph Akable.
The Ghana Police Service has served notice it will roll out random stop and search operations on the roads and also visit offices as part of efforts to get more people to wear face masks and comply with other COVID-19 safety protocols. The attempt to enforce compliance in offices comes on the back of statistics from the Ghana Health Service that the number of workplace infections are on the rise. Ghana's case count as of January 25 stands at 3,940 after over 1,132 new cases were reported January 24 and 25. 13 more deaths were added over the same period, bringing the COVID-19 related deaths so far to 390. Meanwhile, all 16 regions now have active cases. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabuaje, gave the latest updates at a news conference Thursday.
This is what's happening in KIA, and what are we doing in brief on to manage the surge? I will say that the number of new infectious cases still remain high, but has stagnated in the last few days. So we still run between the same numbers we have. That's about between 600 and 670 thereabout. So that's where we still are. So we are not seeing the rapid escalation that we saw earlier from the 300 all the way to 600. Active cases continue to rise as a result of the surge, and we are hoping that if we stabilize the number, the recoveries will increase and the active cases will start coming down. The cases are mainly in Greater Accra, located in Accra Metro and its surrounding. I'll show you the heat maps and the spots that we have. And the case still remains the same characteristics of middle class, but now we are also having some add to the numbers who are coming in, but we have seen a decreasing number of positives coming from the travelers. So, in summary, the total number of positives we have ever recorded is about 63,883. We have tested about 757,000 plus, with a cumulative positivity of 8.4%, and our current active cases is roughly about 3,940. We have recorded 390 deaths so far, and you can see that there's been a rapid escalation in the last few weeks of the number of deaths. Today we are reporting a new total new cases as at 25th of 2025 cases. And the majority, as we keep saying, are in Accra, not Accra Metropolitan, Ashanti second, followed by Western. Currently, all 16 regions have active cases, but as at this current report, 10 regions did not report any new case. So only 6 regions reported a new case in this reporting period. All of them had no case, which is a good sign. Zooming in on Accra, which is our main spot, the number of contacts is about 330. The total number of contacts listed in this as at 27, that's just January, is about 8,679. Contact listed for just yesterday was 536 new contacts. So far, we followed about 8,043 contacts. And out of them, 283 of these 8,000 contacts have turned positive. giving a positivity rate of 3.5% of those who were contacts.
Dr. Kuma Boaje further disclosed that institutional and self-referral activities are hampering government's COVID-19 management program. Is therefore calling for cooperation from affected institutions, even as more positive cases are recorded at the workplace.
The linkage to care is hampered by institutional and self-referrals. What do I mean institutional referrals? Especially a workplace outbreak, you'll say that, oh, you are there and an HR manager calls you that somebody has turned positive, so go and get tested. That's not contact tracing. When you have that, you report to the health sector around you. They come and do a risk assessment, identify the positive, because the people who work with you, they live in communities, they belong to clubs, they belong to gyms, etc. So the health sector can map all these places and do a proper contact tracing. Also self-referrals. So you go, you get tested, you get your results. It may take a couple of days if the lab doesn't enter quickly, for the health sector to identify and respond to you. So the most appropriate approach you are encouraging people to do is that as soon as you feel unwell, please report to the nearest facility. They will give you a referral, and then you go. So once you are going, they are expecting your results. And so even if it doesn't come, they are following up to see whether, even if it may be a false negative, for example, especially declarative symptoms, etc. So I think let's make sure we do that. But because people have elected to do that, we have also put data entry clerks also at the private sector labs. And we have seen some improving number of data entry, rapid response, and linkage to care. We'll continue working for that to ensure that the link, especially for the sick, is done promptly so that we can save lives.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service will be intensifying random stop and search operations to enforce the wearing of face masks and other safety protocols. It is also urging district assemblies to explore the passage of bylaws to ensure compliance. Sheila Bay Bachman speaks for the Ghana Police Service.
Engaging with regulators and operators, various police departments, regions, directorates, and units engage. So, for instance, let me use the MTTG as an example. Transport operators, transport owners, at the lorry stations, we have been engaging them. And particularly in the municipal and district assemblies, we have started engaging to see how they can activate their bylaws to ensure enforcement of the wearing of masks as their bylaws permit, specifically to the regions, and we hope to see results soon. We have been visiting public places randomly. So when we come to an open bar, for instance, and we notice that you are not ensuring COVID protocols, we lock you up. And for those of you who report from the ground, I'm sure you have a few cases you have already reported. But the next step that we are going to take, we are going to have random stop and search on vehicles across the country. So you could be traveling from Tamale to Accra, or you could be traveling from Ho to Hohoi, or wherever, Kwamai to Kumewu, or you could be traveling from Medina to Adenta. It could be a commercial vehicle, most especially, but it can also be private vehicle. For as long as we see 2 or more people on the vehicle, any police officer in uniform can stop you, look at whether you're wearing your mask properly. If not, you will be brought down. And if the driver is wearing properly, the passengers who are wearing their mask properly will be made to go. Until you find your mask and adorn it well, you cannot board the next vehicle.
On its part, Director General of the GES, Professor Kwesi said the GES will be stepping up monitoring of conditions in schools across the country following last week's reopening. The service, prior to the resumption of schools, had adapted reopening and recovery learning guidelines to facilitate teaching and learning in a safe environment. But after 2 weeks and 5 positive cases in schools, Professor Opoku-Amankwah says enforcement of the strategies will help mitigate the impact of the closure of schools on the about 9.2 million affected pre-tertiary students.
Now, the next important assignment for us is to constantly monitor the schools and see how well they are doing. So, come next week, as we did in the previous reopening, we're going to have teams from the national, from the regional and the district levels to go around to monitor and pick out the issues as and when they come. And these teams at all levels include Ghana Education Service, Ghana Health Service, our local assemblies, and then our various staff at all the levels to ensure that we are able to do a thorough monitoring and give a good evaluation and resolve the issues as they come up. We also want to draw attention to the fact that the home learning support, the online, the Ghana Learning TV and radio are still working, and we will ask parents to encourage their wards to also go online or watch those programs or listen to them to support their learning whilst they are at home.
In Kumasi, the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital is seeing a spike in the number of children testing positive for COVID-19. The facility in the last 10 days has recorded 9 such cases, including an 11-day-old baby. Head of the Child Health Directorate, Professor Samson Entry, says the situation is taking a toll on the facility as management struggles to make room for such patients.
The Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital is the only pediatric referral facility in the northern sector of the country. Like other health facilities, the hospital is overwhelmed by the number of COVID-19 cases involving children. At least 9 cases have been recorded in the last 10 days. Head of the Child Health Directorate, Professor Samson Entry, says the situation has put a strain on the hospital.
We are having a huge surge in COVID positive cases. The disease initially, children were said to be spared. We have 14 of last year. But this year, just in a space of 10 days, we got 9 positive cases, children. And our HIU, remember, our main pediatric HIU is 3 bed. That is full. MBU is 1 bed. That is full. And so it's so happening that some 2 other positive. Other 2 are well, they've been discharged. 1 person died, have been discharged. And so we had another 2, but we had to keep them at the holding area. The COVID strain that we are having now is really also affecting children, seriously, because in the first of 10 days, less than 2 weeks, we are getting 9 cases. We don't know where we're going to go. And we are already full. And so that is what we are saying, that everybody must help.
Management says the hospital is overstretched and it is in dire need of space. Professor Entry says the facility can no longer admit pediatric cases. He says there are ongoing talks with the Regional Health Directorate to create a treatment center for children with COVID-19.
As it is now, we are not in the position even to bring new cases. I don't mean COVID. Anybody who is sick, you come here, we will just drag you in front, rubbing an ambulance that you came with. If there's something we need to do for you, we can do to stabilize you, then we send you back. Because our wards are full, we are exploring the possibility of getting treatment center for children. As far as I'm concerned, we haven't got a place for children. And just Monday, we were in talks with the medical director to actually talk with them. I think he also had discussion with the regional health directory to see if they can create space for children who are stable, COVID positive who are stable, so that we can move some of them there, so that we can get space.
Medical Director of the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Professor Bafo Kofi-Poku, says out of 504 samples taken, 251, representing 49.8%, returned positive.
At the end of yesterday, which is the 26th day of January, we have tested 504 patients, out of which 251 are positive, 49.8%. Almost 50% of all patients who have come here and have been tested have been found to be positive. So it is the duty of us, and together with you, the press, to drum home to the public about the need for us to take the preventive measures seriously.
Meanwhile, management has denied allegations of neglect and lapses in its COVID-19 management. Some caregivers at the Child Health Directorate have accused management of putting their lives at risk as suspected COVID-19 cases are managed alongside other patients. But at a press briefing to respond to the allegations, management denied the allegations. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimenteria reporting.
Meanwhile, medical practitioners are urging COVID-19 survivors who have identified changes in their bodily functions or any post-COVID symptoms to immediately seek medical attention to remedy the situation. This follows recent research on the effect COVID has on patients. Seizures, mental health issues, infertility, and erectile dysfunction are some of the findings. Dr. Justice Yankton, speaking on Joy FM's Super Morning Show, stated even though reports are not conclusive, damage caused to the testicular cells by COVID-19 through hyperinflammation of the cell tissues may affect male fertility in the long run.
Post your recovery, like you described, you're testing negative, you're being discharged from the hospital and what have you. There are residual problems or complications that these patients will have to grapple with, especially those who get moderate, severe critical illness. And then even those with mild conditions who have been treated at home and all that, they also can get these problems post their recovery. And the problems cut across all organs. You may not have all, but you could have a combination. It could be 2, 3 different systems or organs involved. It could be just one for you. But the long and short of it is that post-COVID problems are there. Let me just mention a few of the things we see, and then we'll zoom in on why ED or erectile dysfunction in particular. You can have situations where these people will keep having the problems, and sometimes they've been described as the long haulers. For 100 days, for 6 months, they still have problems. So fatigue, things like muscle weakness, difficulty breathing, difficulty sleeping, hair loss, loss of smell, taste, problems with, say, their mobility, issues around, let's say, mental health, depression, anxiety, some neurocognitive, disorders. So somebody, for example, like the sort of things you may see in somebody with, say, dementia, those ones are described as neurocognitive. So maybe loss of memory, stuff like that. Their affect is affected. Some are beginning to get seizures and what have you. It's all because of the problems that COVID has created. And a lot of it is as a result of what we call the hyperinflammation that occurs when COVID-19 is at play. And that results in all these residual issues.
So are there some people who are more susceptible to these post-COVID effects, like maybe older people or people with particular pre-existing conditions, or people in a certain part of the world? Who is most likely to end up with, erectile dysfunction or any of the other post-COVID symptoms?
Well, the truth is that the research is still ongoing, but the figures show that generally, like I said, those who get severe critical illnesses, those with moderate disease, tend to have these things, the more. But of course, even those with a milder form, they also get. What we have also seen is that those who have some general, let's say, disease burden, poor health generally, may also come up with these things. But the long and short of it is that all these things we have described, the hyperinflammation and what have you, the blood clotting and all the bits, result in a situation where you have damage to the vessels. You know, the organ is such that it is blood that is pumped into it for the erection to be sustained or for you to see that, yes, it has grown inside. It's a spongy tissue. So as and when it has to erect, blood is pushed in. Now, some of these blood vessels that go in there to supply, and then those within the organ themselves, the organ itself, are destroyed by the COVID disease through the hyperinflammation activities that we are talking about. So the linings are destroyed, some are blocked, some clots may also form. So once you have this damage to the vessels, then you can have this problem.
Can it be fixed? Can such damage be fixed?
Hello?
Sorry, I was just wondering, can such damage be repaired?
Well, you may have to see a urologist for assessment. So probably, if you give me a bit of time, we'll get to that bit in no time.
And so to come in this bulletin, the motion seeking to have government absorb the fees of students in tertiary institutions has been defeated.
Is tomorrow acceptable to members? Now, I put the question. At the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as in favor of the motion, say aye.
The ruling, however, came after extensive debate on the motion. We'll bring you all the action. We'll also tell you why the birth of a rare breed monkey is being hailed by wildlife campaigners.
Happily, she is safe. The mom is called Chachale, and the dad is Kweku.
That's the story of Peter, the rare breed monkey. Right after the break, though, we'll bring you business where Ghanaian institutions improved their customer service in 2020 with Charles Aite.
Time for business. I'm Charles Aite. Institutions in Ghana improved their customer service for clients for the year 2020 as against that of 2019, scoring a higher mark of 65%. Now, per the Customer Service Index by the Institute of Customer Service Excellence in Ghana, the country moved up from a little above 62% or grade C to 65.55%, which is graded C+. Let's have more in this report.
The more than 65% score, according to the Institute of Customer Service Professionals, is a marginal improvement by the country from the 2019 score, which was pegged at 62% with grade C. The 2020 customer service ranking focused on sectors of the economy including financial, hospitality, retail, transportation, and online businesses, among others. The hospitality sector tops as the sector with the best customer care service in Ghana for the year. Chief Executive of the Institute of Customer Service Professionals, Yvonne Ohi-McCarthy, explains.
People always talk about how hospitable we are as a country. And I get asked a lot that question, do you think we're a hospitable country? And I keep saying that I think it's just something we have gotten used to, and we are somehow believing that we are, but we really aren't. And our hospitality should even start from the airport. But then you walk in through and you know, the immigration officer, I'm not saying that all immigration officers are like that, but if we're being honest, most of them don't care where you've come from. All they care about, yes, next, and now there's even a camera, you're not told if you're going to be snapped or not. All you hear is, hey, hey. So it means just, you know, position your head and let's take the picture. So hospitality really should start from there. And I think those in the hospitality industry, only because the name of your sector should tell you how you should behave.
Even though the public sector recorded the lowest score, the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, performed highest in that category.
Collectively, this is the kind of perception that we have. And this is the kind of perception we've built over the years, that we will come because we'll have to pay our taxes, or we'll come because we need to make sure that our SNIT contributions are paid, or that will come because we need authorization for, our manufacturing companies and stuff like that. But how about you executing your job or doing it with some pleasure, doing it because you realize even though I need you, you still wouldn't be there if I didn't need you. So for me, if we have any of the organizations here who are in the public sector, I think we should try, okay? I would like to, SNIT, I think SNIT has been consistent in where they sit when it comes to the index. Unfortunately, your sector is pulling you back, but at least you can make a case for your organization that you did what you think you should have done and you placed first. So it might sound very tricky, being first of the last, but it doesn't matter. Okay, I think it's just your sector pulling you back. So again, this is how the ranking showed. SNIT first, DVLA second, Ghana Police Service third, and then it follows through like that.
Access Bank Ghana is also the best performing bank on the customer service rank for the financial sector.
A pensioner, Joseph Odro from Kumasi, has emerged the 4th unique prize winner of the 787 lottery for 2021. Here's more.
Joyful winner Joseph Odro in an interview said the prize will aid him uplift his project and equally invest part of the money into his business. He encouraged the general public to participate for their turnaround moment.
A piece of advert came on my phone, and after some time I even tried deleting the advert. Then later when I saw it coming, I said no, I have to do something. Then I played the game. Just 15 cedis, and I've won such a big amount. Oh, I'm happy. I don't think somebody will frown his face getting an amount of 20,000. I'm happy. Yeah, I'm going to use it to support my project. I'm saying star 787 hash is real, and people have to participate. It will be your chance.
Head of Customer Experience Richard Akotubanfo says the new jackpot draw this Saturday offers a golden opportunity to participants to become millionaires.
Star 787 hash this Saturday is promising a big jackpot worth 1,424,000 Ghana cedis. This can be your life-changing moment. You can become a millionaire this instant on Saturday, and you can have your dreams come alive. Just pick your phone now and dial star 787 hash to play and win. It is your moment. Don't make a dull moment out of this one. Just pick the chance now and change your life.
And that'll be all for business. Sport is up next with Gary L. Smith. Do stay.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary L. Smith, and this is The Sport. Former Ghana international Lai Kingston says he's learnt a lot from understudying other coaches at the Right to Dream Academy. According to him, his understanding of the football game has changed when he had the opportunity to work with them.
I'm one of them, and I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
So far, tell us, what would you say you've learned in your coaching career, and what has changed about you from starting out to now being part of the Right to Dream family?
Yeah, for me, I think when I first started, I started as a former player, and whatever I understand throughout my playing career, that's what I believe in. That's what I try to impact on my players before moving to Right to Dream. And I went to Right to Dream, and I realized different level of coaching, you know, in terms of how to periodize your training sessions, how to have a session planner, how to write reports, and then also doing football class with the boys and all that, doing a lot of video analysis and all that. So for me, I think when I first arrived, I don't know how to plan sections on laptop, but with education from right to dream, now I can't say I'm perfect, but I'm comfortable with the laptop, how to plan sections with laptops as well. So it's a very good place for everyone to be. When you get there and you are very serious, I think you get something out of it.
The International Olympic Committee is fully concentrated and committed to the successful and safe delivery, those are the words, of the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics this year, despite the COVID-19 pandemic. That's according to the IOC President Thomas Bach. The chairman said all stakeholders, including the Japanese government, were fully united and committed to going ahead with the rearranged games. Despite much of Japan being under a state of emergency because of a third wave of the pandemic, the Olympics are set to start on the 23rd of July. It's crossed. We have the Olympics, and that's the sport for now.
And it's time for Showbiz. Twinnie is here, even though she's fair and I'm dark. I miss you too. Good to see you, Becky.
You too.
What's up?
Great.
Beautiful multimedia dress. Aww. I'm blushing right now.
Today we're talking movies.
Okay.
Congratulations is in order to for Eric Kofi Abrefa. He is a Ghanaian UK-based actor.
Okay.
So he's been cast for 50 Cent's new series, which is about to be released.
Yep.
It's called Black Mafia. So he's on set and he sent in, something that we should expect on Black Mafia. Family.
Congratulations to him.
Yeah, Eric. Eric is making Ghana proud, and we're proud of Eric. Mr. Easy, remember Mr. Easy?
Yeah.
If you give your heart to me,
I gotta give it.
I'm not gonna let you. We're not gonna do you. What's up? Baby? Today your body like skin tight. There are times when
so who's this one for right now, Becky? Okay, you out there, shout outs to you.
But actually, Mr. Easy, it's been a long time he released anything.
Yeah.
So he's been telling his followers that he has something coming up. It's an EP and he's working on it.
We can't wait for that.
I think it's...
Okay, so Easy, baby.
Yes,
we've been waiting for you. Okay, but that one is for our own Easy. Bralai, shout out to you.
Bralai. I miss you. Don't worry, I don't miss Aisha. But so for the people who have seen Bridgerton, I don't know whether you're
on Netflix.
On Netflix,
yes.
Good news for them because season 2 is coming soon.
Okay.
ET Entertainment tonight decided to catch up with the actors, some of the characters in the series, and they've been sharing what to expect in season 2.
So that was a question I was going to ask, whether there's going to be more of those scenes.
That's not you.
Anyway, all right.
It's the reason why a lot of people.
But to be there.
So,
all right, that'll be it for Showbiz. Thank you so much.
Log on to myjoyonline.com, the entertainment page.
Definitely, and for all the news, and that'll be it for those of you watching on Joy Prime. The news continues on Joy News. Back to Joy News Prime to the rest of our stories. Parliament Thursday voted by majority decision to reject a motion to absorb the fees of students in tertiary institutions. The motion, moved by NDC MP for Boko Central, wanted the president to waive the fees for all tertiary institutions students for this academic year as part of a coronavirus relief package. Before I bring you how the House voted on the matter, I will bring you some of the debates that preceded it. MP for Ofuasa Yorebi and Minister Designate for Information, Kojo Nkrumah, started a debate for the NPP majority and kicked against the motion, which he described as unclear and bordering on illegality.
So, Mr. Speaker, in terms of being clear and specific, my humble opinion is that this motion doesn't meet the test. In terms of legality, even asking a president to suspend the implementation of LI, I think 2216, is a matter that, in my humble view, flies in the face of legality. In terms of not being discriminatory, this motion, as it stands currently, discriminates against students of private tertiary institutions. And in terms of best practice, Mr. Speaker, as I've mentioned earlier, things like fiscal impact analysis, etc., are not included as it stands. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, it is a good thing that we all acknowledge now, despite the earlier comments, that it was populist, it was a cheap approach. It's a good thing that we all acknowledge now that reliefs for Ghanaians should be done at a time like this. And I encourage my colleague to keep on this path. I'm happy we're on this path. But, Mr. Speaker, this motion as it stands, to the extent that it appears to say, because we have voted some monies for COVID-19, it should be able to cover all of these things, when we know those monies were for specific purposes. And B, Mr. Speaker, because in my mind, these basic pillars that must be met as a test are not met, myself and I believe a good number of my colleagues will not be able to support this motion as it currently stands.
MP for Norton Okujeto Ablakwa, however, strongly disagreed. According to the former Deputy Education Minister, it's very important for government to support families and students in such difficult times occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic.
Mr. Speaker, the NPP manifesto acknowledges the times we are in and made some good, what I would call far-reaching and positive proposals. I recall the MDC manifesto as well, talked about the chamber policy, which was even later revised, that all the free SHS graduates would not pay fees at all. So what the Honorable Mahama Yariga is asking for are matters that the two main political parties brought to the fore during the campaign. The various standard bearers spoke to them, and students were in anticipation that because of these hard times caused by COVID, when the 2020 and 2021 academic year commences, whether it's NPP or NDC in power, we will all make do our promises and we will deliver on those promises. So what has changed? Is it the case that we don't want to keep faith with the electorate, with the Ghanaian people? So this argument of discrimination, let my brother Honorable Kojo Nkrumah take note that free SHS does not cover private schools. So does it mean President Akufo-Addo is discriminating against students in the private schools? So you are shooting your own policies in the foot. Then they claim that we cannot support private institutions. We have been doing it. As Deputy Minister of Education in charge of tertiary education, I recall that in the allocation of vehicles, anytime we buy buses for schools, we include the private tertiary institutions. We do extend support to them. So we have been doing that. We sometimes extend even grants when we negotiate with the World Bank, and there are some grants available for faculty. We allow them to also apply. So there's a long-standing tradition where we extend support to private tertiary institutions. These things are done. So the Honorable Mahama Yariga must be commended for bringing this motion. Is competent as the Speaker has ruled, and this House should not be said by our constituents that we sat aloof, we ran away from our campaign promises, and when the time came for us to stand up for them and to seek their interests, we chickened out and engaged in bad faith.
Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu then called on the NPP side in Parliament to support the motion as it was in the interest of Ghanaian students and parents.
First of all, let me respond to the Honorable Kojo Nkrumah when he sought to give an indication that this side of the House was not supportive of government effort in matters relating to the management of COVID. And Mr. Speaker, I refer you to the Hansard of Friday, 17th April 2020, on the approval of the Rapid Credit Facility Agreement between Government of Ghana and IMF to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. And Mr. Speaker, in particular, to refer you to column 221 of column 194. And Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, I quote, "At that time, I had opportunity to lead this group. I still have the privilege to do same." Mr. Speaker, I said, and I quote, "Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of the motion for the adoption of the report for the equivalent of 738 million SDR, which is about 1 billion for Ghana, to mitigate the financial and economic impact of COVID-19. And the IMF is reported to be providing disbursement to many or several African countries." Mr. Speaker, and I said, I speak in support of the adoption of the report on behalf of this group. So why create this erroneous and misleading impression? Not just this. I've also heard the Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah sought to argue, referencing Public Financial Management Act. Mr. Speaker, we are in Ghana. We're in this house when we passed the Custom Amendment Act on overage vehicles and those salvage vehicles. The government of President Nana Addo Dankwa suspended the operation of the law. Where did you do that? Where did you have authority to do that?
Deputy Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markins contended the NDC was on a path to obstruct and ambush government and questioned if Ghanaians are ready to shoulder more taxes to implement an exercise he described as costly.
If indeed the intent of my colleague is to bring to the attention of this House this matter as urgent and as important as he deems it, which I agree with him, he should come by way of statement. This is the appropriate channel to advance this cause. Then we would be engaging. What he is doing, Mr. Speaker, is exactly what Mr. Speaker admonished us not to do. Carrying out an obstructionist agenda, trying to ambush government, because the appropriate route is to come up with a statement. If you come out with a statement, we engage each other because, Mr. Speaker, the explanatory submission by him talks about the fact that he is not restricting government. He is encouraging government to take the opportunity to sit with the implementers. These were his words. The implementers. And then he also talks about the fact that there's going to be a fiscal cost, a fiscal impact, which, Mr. Speaker, my colleague Kojo Opon Nkrumah advanced that argument in extenso.
Education Minister designate Dr. Yao Educhum has, however, revealed vice chancellors of the country's universities do not consider as urgent the need for government to absorb fees for students in public tertiary institutions at this time.
It's interesting when colleagues stand up and say we need to support our children. But, Mr. Speaker, at the face of it, you will say, yeah, there's COVID-19. But Mr. Speaker, I have spoken with a number of vice chancellors who are telling me they don't know what is going on in this house. I'll study Accra. In 2018-19, 67% of the students that they admitted registered.
At the end of the debates, the House voted to defeat the motion.
Is tomorrow acceptable to members? Now, I put the question. At the conclusion of the debate, the question is, as many as in favor of the motion, say aye. As many as are against the motion, say no. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. Honorable members, the motion is accordingly negated.
Away from Parliament, the transportation, disposal and treatment of fecal waste in Ghana, especially in Accra, has been a challenge for many years now. There, however, appears to be a solution on the horizon. The Hatter Foundation, an environmental NGO, has organized the Actuate project, a £700,000 project training communities on how to use fecal matter to generate energy. The project, funded by UK Research and Innovation, is in partnership with a number of agencies, including the Lancaster University, the CSIR, and Sewerage Systems Ghana. Judith Awachitando has more in this report.
With a population of about 30 million, Ghana has been known for unusual recycling of fecal waste. Most homes, institutions and industries have been limited to the use of septic tanks, which have to be emptied from time to time at a cost. But the Hatter Foundation and its partners want to change this. The Umar Bin Khattab Islamic School is one of the beneficiaries of the initiative. A biogas digester built under the project now provides gas and electricity for the school, while the residue is used as fertilizer. Headmaster Imoro Suleimana says the digester has been a game changer.
One of the things that every school will want to have is a science laboratory. So if through this project, the gas that will be generated, will pass through a pipe to the show lab, or what we will call science resource center, that will practicalize the teaching and learning of science.
Firdaus Ishaq, a student of the school, also expressed gratitude to the Hatter Foundation. According to her, this project will go a long way to develop the students' interest in science.
Okay, the waste generated from the mixture can be used as a manure for the flowers, as you can see for the school. The gas generated can also benefit the school lab, which will make teaching and learning in science more practical. It will develop our interest in science. It can also, the school feeding, as you can see, the school is part of the school feeding program. So the gas can be used to cook food for the school food. A teacher can teach something, you just hear, but you don't know what she's saying about. Maybe she'll show you in the book, but you know what she's talking about. But because of this project, ourselves know more things about the science. More things about the science.
The CEO of Hatter Foundation, Samuel Doche, however, explained that this digester, unlike the others, has special features which aid in detecting problems faster and easier.
I think the special feature about this digester is that, those that are buried underground, when there is a problem, when there is a leakage, it is difficult for you to trace where the leakage is. So this one that is above the ground provides the opportunity for constant monitoring and ensuring that any part of the digester, be it the inlet or the polytanks, when there is any problem, you can easily tackle it at the point of source.
The Hatter Foundation, along with its partners and sponsors, intends to produce these digesters on a larger scale to manage fecal waste in Ghana. Judith Awachitando for Joy News.
And in the Central Region, some old boys of some senior high schools in Cape Coast are supporting their alma maters to ensure their students are able to comply with the COVID-19 protocols and stay safe from the virus. One critical area health authorities say should be looked at is wash facilities. Richard Kwejonyako was at the St. Augustine's College in Cape Coast, where he reports CEO of Syndicated Capital, an old boy, has handed over a washroom and a toilet facility to the school to help them ease the pressure on the existing facilities and to prevent infections. He has more in the following report.
This is the St. Augustine's College in Cape Coast. It's one of the senior high schools that just reopened like any other senior high school in Ghana. Now, because of the COVID-19 and the protocols that has to be practiced by the school authorities and all of that, there is a dire need for them to have more facilities like washrooms and the other things to enable the student practice the social distancing and other COVID-19 prevention measures. And so, as part of it, this facility has just been donated to the school to help the students of the Kelly House practice social distancing, the COVID-19 protocols. You know, this pandemic rather calls for some more hygienic interventions by school authorities, and they believe that this would be a huge step towards fighting the pandemic. We've been speaking with Mr. Apieje, the one who donated the Absunian, and he has these words to say.
I just happened to be here on my 50th, and I realized that the students for Kelly House didn't have a place of convenience. They had to use other houses. You know, when I was a student here, we had about, 5 or 6 water closets serving the entire Kelly House. I realized during my stay here that nobody really sat on those water closets because they were not in a situation that you could sit on. So the best form of sanitary ware that we could use ourselves would be the squatting one with the ability to flush. So that is what informed my choosing this type of system, and I believe this is what is being adopted in all schools all over. So my experience here led me to select that kind of system. The numbers were going to grow. I wasn't going to limit myself to the number that is present right now, but in case that the numbers were bumped up and they needed more facilities, I mean, this will be able to adequately serve that need.
Well, the headmaster of St. Augustine's College has also been speaking. He feels that it has come at an opportune time for the school to help the students fight this very pandemic.
It is a plus. That's why we have to accept such an offer at this time. You all know that when we are talking about COVID-19, it has a lot to do with hygienic environment. So if you have such a wonderful facility, there's even no need to wait for a longer time before you put it into use. So I must say that yes, like you said, we have challenges, we fix them, and when such things come, they come to help us fix challenges.
We've also been speaking with some of the students who feel that there were some pressures on some of the facilities. They had to go in turns, and also how to even practice the protocols was even difficult for them. But now this has been provided with some polytanks and the other things that will ensure free flow of water and all of that. It is very good for them.
Indeed, it has come at a very good time, considering the protocols and we practicing social distancing, taking certain activities into consideration like bathing. We have to take turns in order to do so. And having a larger facility being handed over to the school today has really helped us and will really help us, especially putting the protocols into consideration and bathing in turns.
The way it is, the display and everything is actually going to be very helpful because the pressure for the Kelly House was quite a lot. We couldn't really use a place, so we had to take it in turns, and then coming for class, we also have mass in the morning. So now that we have this facility, I believe everyone will be done as fast as possible. Then we can go for mass or we can go for class if we have to. So
this addition to the existing facilities will help a great deal, especially in this time of the pandemic. From the St. Augustine's College, my name is Richard Kwejenyako for Joy News.
I'm back in the studio in Accra. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Over 2 million Celtus trees are used for pestles in Ghana annually. The demand for the pestles for fufu pounding is slowly threatening the survival of the species. But a research scientist has found a solution that could save the Celtus trees, an innovation called the permanent pestle. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Anita Sewa Ajoga speaks with Nanose Bonsu, a former research scientist with the Corps Research Institute of the CSIR.
Ekuya Sapuma uses 6 pestles annually to pound fufu. Imagine the number of trees that must be cut annually to pound fufu for the entire country. 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. You do the maths. Nana Osai Bonso, a former research scientist with the Crops Research Institute, has found a better way of making the pistils while preserving the forest.
Some people are using unrecommended trees to make pistils, and some of the trees can even cause kidney problems, heart problems, and all those things. So, in fact, I interviewed the people who harvest these pistils, and they said that these pistils, the trees, they call the setters, they are very, very scarce in the forest, and that is why they harvest any type of trees. And one thing that we can use to solve the problem is to cultivate the celtis tree. But if you cultivate celtis and even you use entire pistil for entire tree for one pistil, it is still going to be a problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is why I came out with this invention. So if you harvest one tree, you can get about 10. I call this pistil heads. You can get about 10 out of one single tree.
Unlike the traditional pistil, the permanent pistil head can be replaced with a new one or can be remolded. The pistil head is fixed on a metallic reducer and joined to a PVC pipe, which is filled with concrete to make the permanent pistil heavy. The permanent pistil weighs 2.5 kg, which is an average weight of a traditional pistil.
The one advantage is that if for the local pistil or the traditional pistil, once you buy it, you have the weight. And then when it gets older, the water will dry out and then it will become light. And because of that, if it is very light, you have to use a lot of strength to pound. And that compels people to throw it away and go for a new one. But this one, the weight is permanent. Now this one is about 2.5 kg, and it is just like that. The weight doesn't reduce. So you can use the handle for maybe how many years? I don't know, maybe about 10 years.
2 to 3 million trees can be saved using the permanent pistil. It's climate friendly, convenient, and above all, it's durable. Yeah, it's taller than me, but you can have a smaller one at home. Reporting for Tech Thursday, Anita Sewa Ajogan.
Wow, interesting. But born in the middle of a pandemic, that's the story of Peter, a rare breed monkey, the only one of its kind to be born in Ghana in the whole of 2020. Wildlife conservationists are celebrating Peter's birth as a major win in the fight against the extinction of mangabe monkeys in Ghana. Joy News' Justice Beidou has been given access into the Accra Zoo to see him.
Okay, baby monkey in the arms of mother monkey.
Fergus.
Chechele, the mother, and Peter, the child, caressing each other in the heart of the Achimota forest. Peter is a mangabe monkey.
Maybe from here?
Once upon a time, its type was popular in Ghanaian forests. But now excessive hunting for bushmeat and wildfires have sent them into near extinction in Ghana.
The birth of a new mangabe is of huge significance for the population of the mangabes. This is the biggest reserve population within the world, I would say, and we hope that they will help us eliminate the risk of extinction of the species once we are able to reintroduce them into the Ghanaian rainforest.
Peter was named after a dedicated worker at the Kumasi Zoo who spent his life caring for monkeys, dying in 2019 in the line of work.
He used to take care of the white-necked mangabes, and he also helped us to hand rear a baby monkey that the mom rejected. So we wanted to remember him, and that's why we named Peter after him.
A lot of people don't even know that the zoo have moved from Kanda to this area. So our main aim is to promote this zoo so that other people will know about it and come and see the animals. Most of the time,
Ernestina Enin speaks for the Wildlife Division, the body under the Forestry Commission working against the odds to keep this zoo alive.
Talking about Peter as one of the mangabes that have been born this year, it's a way that people would know that these animals are very close to extinction and we need to protect them so that we can promote tourism.
Peter's birth is the first to be seen at the Achimota forest in many, many years. And its conservation is by courtesy of the West African Primate Conservation Action, WAPCA, a local NGO which hopes to release Peter into a Ghanaian forest soon. Justice Bedu, Joy News, Accra.
We'll take a break. We'll bring you the second part of business with Charles Aite.
Hello there, it's now time for business. The Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System witnessed significant growth across most of its platforms by value and transactions last year. This was contained in its 2020 annual report, of which George Riafi brings us more.
The report showed that 77 million transactions were recorded in 2020 compared to 38 million in 2019. This represents a 103% jump over that of 2019. In terms of value, these platforms processed more than 250 billion Ghana cedis, representing another significant increase over the previous year. From the numbers, it was clear that the strong growth was influenced by most individuals' preference for real-time and remote payments like the GIFTS Instant Pay and the mobile money interoperability, which actually posted the highest transactional value due to last year's partial lockdown and COVID-19. When you look at the breakdown of the numbers further, you realize that when it came to mobile money interoperability, it went up by more than 300%. The Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System also attributed the surge in usage of these products to several educational programs over the years that actually sought to discourage the use of physical cash. For some, the 2020 market performance released by the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System could give some credence to the fact that the country might be ready in terms of going cashless, possibly from next year.
Now, the Ghana Standards Authority has urged Ghana to present the best of its produce and infrastructure to benefit from the Continental Free Trade Agreement area. According to the Director General, Professor Alex Dodu, participating industries and businesses must ensure that they produce quality goods and services to enable them to take full advantage of the Trade Pact. He spoke to Joy Business.
The African Continental Free Trade Area is the best thing to happen to Ghana and Africa. However, if we do not put in place the necessary quality infrastructure, it will be the worst thing. Because you create a free and open market, unfortunately it becomes an open market for trading in all sorts. So quality will drive that market. The earlier Ghana is seen as the place for quality goods, the better. Because every country will quickly learn that quality is what drives the market. And buyers in all parts of Africa will be looking for that mark, that sign, or that country of quality. Currently, as we sit, most Ghanaians, in a default way, accept that goods made in South Africa are good quality. It's accepted. Whereas goods made in some sister countries in West Africa are quote-unquote perceived not to be good quality. Ghana must be the place for quality. The Standards Authority, Food and Drugs, and other agencies require huge investment from the Republic to provide that quality infrastructure. And I repeat, it's not business as usual. The investments must be deliberate, and it must be to ensure that Ghanaian companies can compete. Because if these agencies are to make the money from IGF by charging industry cannot compete. So if these agencies are heavily funded, I'm talking $20, $30, $50 million a year over the next 5 years, that would ensure that industry can obtain quality services for free. Then they can compete and raise the money and the taxes to come back. It's a discussion, obviously, we'll have with our bosses, as in our various ministers, and all the way behind. But it's a national conversation as well, because quality is not cheap. Quality cannot be cheap. Quality is expensive. But if you forego quality, you die. Because one, you die economically, but you can also die physically. We are glad the quality of our medicines in Ghana are now good. And the quality of a lot of our products, water made in Ghana, electrical cables, and the rest, are world class. But we don't need these few. We need everything to speak to that quality agenda.
Now, poultry farmers are recommending the creation of a board to regulate the pricing of eggs. According to the Poultry Farmers Association of Ghana, this would set a standard on the pricing of eggs, which will consequently be a win-win for both the farmers and consumers. Michael Nyako-Ampem is the president of the association, and he spoke to Inshira Ado on Talking Business on Joy Prime.
Two things I can immediately say, or three. If we can guarantee the raw materials for the feed millers, say we have an institution at Buffer Stock. If Buffer Stock can say come into an agreement with the feed millers and say we are buying or selling maize to you and soya to you at X amount, then nobody has a reason to needlessly increase their prices, because they will take the maize off the farmers, and then we will have constant supply. So our business will just be growing the best and milling the feed. The next thing is that if somehow we can have a board that, like the cocoa board does, we have excises, and the excises would influence the price. So a kind of board determines that grade A egg, this is a price that we are giving it for. And then the grade C price, this is what we are proposing. So that the consumers also have a fair idea how much or the range of prices. So that when farmers want to take undue advantage, then the consumers can also speak up. Because we need the protein for the people to grow.
Right. You said three things. Is there a third one?
Okay. The third one is a commodity exchange. I think the commodity exchange should be strengthened so that we can all go there, purchase our raw materials, and it will be available. So buffer stock, commodity stock exchange, if those two are strengthened, I think that will be good to go.
For Business, Sports is up next with Gary L. Smith this day.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. Second batch of sport, I'm Gary L. Smith. Ghana's #1 golfer Vincent Toga has emerged winner of this year's Captain One Invitational Golf Championship held at the Royal Golf Club in Kumasi. The fourth major tournament, with close to 100 golfers battling for glory, saw the golfer prove its worth once again after recording a net score of 71 to be crowned winner. Here's a report by Love FM's Kelvin Osuansa.
That started with close to 100 golfers from across the country playing it out at the Royal Golf Club in Kumasi. It was not easy for Ghana's #1 Vincent Toga because he had to battle it out with fast-rising golfer Kwabena Poku, with the game settled after a play of over 4 holes. The two golfers kept patrons and other participants at the edge of their seats as they went back and forth, attempting to break the tie. But a more determined Toga eventually stole the game after the 4th hole.
Well, I would say it feels good. Anytime I win, it feels like a new beginning for me. So I think the feeling is different from previous ones because this is the first time I play this tournament, and the competition take to play to the next level of playoff. That means the players have put in their best. So I think I'm happy for myself. It was tough because the course was playing a bit different from where I come from. So the greens are beautiful than my place, and the condition have changed a little bit. So I think the players made it very tough because new players and new people that came all the way from outside to be part of the tournament, so made it a bit difficult for everybody.
Mr. Toga walked away with a giant trophy, a gold medal, and 5,000 Ghana cedis worth of voucher, while his closest contender, Poku, received 2,500 Ghana cedis voucher for his efforts.
It's not easy. I was nervous because there was argument is going on. So I get confused. I have to do my homework because the guy is tough. he knows how to play. So I want to be like him. I want to play outside like him.
Paul Chen from the host club, Royal Golf Club, came third with a net score of 73 to receive 1,500 Ghana cedis worth of voucher and a bronze medal. Toga, who was participating in the Captain 1 competition for the first time, observed that the standard of play at the event was top-notch.
The group pairing was good because you play with amateurs who want to learn from you, who want to give. They want to take something from you, and you're also giving them something by talking to them, letting them know that the game is different. This is how they have to play it next time. So it's like your whole community game we were playing. So I think the organization was good and the tournament was great. President of Captain 1 Golf Society, Pius Ayapia, was excited about the standard of the tournament.
The standard has been raised to a different level. As you saw, we couldn't establish a clear winner until they had a number of holes to play off. And so it tells you that every year that we have organized this competition, we have actually exhibited some level of professionalism and improvement in the game. Next year, we're looking to bring on board more professionals and increase the number of amateurs who have already expressed interest.
There would be a first major junior championship in August, with children from 5 Captain 1 adopted orphanages competing for glory.
And then we start planning in earnest for our August junior tournament. We have my young son here who wanted to play desperately. Unfortunately couldn't, even though the youngest player today was 13. We're looking forward to our August championship for the youth. And as you know, our mantra is for golf for all. So that's what we're working on, and we're looking forward to seeing a big swashbuckle event.
Head of operations at the Royal Golf Club, Professor Bernard Baden, is positive such tournaments are good for the growth of the golf game.
We are currently talking to the executives of Captain 1 to make sure, at least for next year, we want them to come back here. And it's something we are proud to be associated with. So in the long term, yes, we want to see ourselves as a major partner with Captain 1.
Awards were also presented to monthly medal winners, with Prince Aduakwa emerging the overall winner, while James Akwabwa and George Osei came second and third in that order.
As Tuchel admitted he is aware of Chelsea's ruthlessness when it comes to sacking managers, but insisted it does not scare him, with the German also revealing Frank Lampard sent him a good luck message. Tuchel was thrust into his first game as Blues boss on Wednesday night against Wolves, which they drew 0-0 24 hours after he was confirmed as the permanent successor to Lampard at the Bridge. Right, in the Premier League, you know, it's the big one. It's Spurs versus Liverpool, and Bobby Firmino, in your shot there, has scored. He's been checked by VAR and it stands. Sadio Mane had missed a lot of chances, but Liverpool have their goal, and you know, they have to break their duck and get their season back on track. More updates on that, plus highlights with Hans Mensah and or else follow Joy Sports on social media. We are giving live updates of the game periodically. Gary Alsmith, thank you for your time. Let's do this again tomorrow, shall we?
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. To the rest of our stories, importers and transporters of tomatoes in the country are protesting what they say is persistent robbery attacks on the Kumasi-Bolgatanga Burkina Faso route. They have threatened to embark on an indefinite strike where all their vehicles will be grounded. Leaders want the government to help intensify security patrols to protect the sector. Prince Apia has more in this report.
Omar Salifu is a 22-year-old truck driver plying the Kumasi-Bolgatanga Burkina Faso route to import tomatoes. He was shot and killed by highway robbers on Tuesday, January 26, 2021, in the northeast region.
4:30 near frame say akonfo abontuo Monday no ifiri ha ko emekora na emoden ye kura mu antinu na Tuesday no free mu na me sie no na me bae
Omar is among the unlucky ones who have lost their lives on the journey to import tomatoes. Adam Suleiman is his father.
Ama the ekoso no enkoso biom eda na awoko no kra wokan wose konya awoko wosuro wose am robbers no ha omo papa oka chedi baba me kro oka chem se baba me kwa me koyi me yem hihye me wose obo bumping na yegina so.
Since the beginning of the year, 6 tomato trucks have been attacked on the routes. An average of 60,000 Ghana cedis is looted from traders in each of the attacks. One of the injured victims in the latest attack is a trader at the Bantama market. Her worried colleagues say they are scared.
Le question is baby or the head pass. I say yes, government say yes, no finance form. No why and so ye hunaman or maimu, our Bakina Hoya Sraban pass or Mabway.
After they are robbed, some are injured and others are killed. Osei Tufo is chairman of the Tomato Traders and Transporters Association.
1:30 a.m. the same thing happened in Lavulongo. Just behind Lavulongo. They robbed them 50,000 Ghana cedis and then they were beaten. They are on critical condition and then they have been rushed to hospital. So we are appealing to the Ministry of Interior, to Inspector General of Police to take immediate action on this because we cannot sit down whilst we are supplying our nation tomato.
The association imports about 70 trucks of tomatoes every day during the lean season from Burkina Faso.
Behind me are trucks moving from here at Tawaraga Junction in Kumasi straight to Burkina Faso. Over there they are going to cut tomatoes from the Burkina Faso communities right here into Ghana because they have been importing so much tomatoes into the country because the local tomatoes are not the type that the consumers want. And on this particular journey, they encounter a number of challenges. And the reason they are saying that they might stop the importation.
Mr. Tufo says they will be forced to stop tomato importation for 1 week if nothing is done about their plight.
If we don't hear anything from the appropriate leaders that I've already mentioned, we will go on demonstration, we will park our vehicles. Tomato will never come to Ghana for a period of 1 week. As I'm speaking now, we don't have tomato within our country. We just go to Burkina Faso to cut down tomato to our local market centers within the country and see how we have been robbed.
If this happens, then it means there could be shortage of tomatoes in the country. The group therefore expects improved police patrols and efficient checkpoints on the highway. Prince Apia reporting.
And that'll be it for the bulletin tonight. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Many thanks for watching. For more news, log on to myjournline.com for all the updates. Enjoy the rest of our program.